Hey guys, this is Eckhart Hello and welcome to another Star Wars lore video. And today I want to quickly answer a question that I've gotten a few times. Why didn't clones simply use ion weaponry, given the fact that they were fighting an army made overwhelmingly out of droids during the Clone Wars? And that's an interesting question. Obviously, ion cannons work very effectively against machines and droids, so why weren't they employed in greater numbers? And I think there are a few reasonable explanations for this. And I mean, on the high level, we have, of course, the real function of the clone army. Yes, clones were meant to fight the Clone Wars, which were really a charade created by Palpatine, but more practically, they were also meant to, when the time was right, eliminate the Jedi and become the first generation of stormtroopers in the galaxy's new empire. So, with Order 66 and other planned events coming, the clones needed to be outfitted with weapons that would not only destroy or stun droids, but would also fully kill living beings when the time was right. And I mean, that doesn't only extend until after the Clone Wars, but also has to do with the Clone Wars itself. I mean, we know that clone troopers at times did have to engage non-droid enemies. Some separatist planets, like Umbara for example, fielded their own local militias, and that's to say nothing about wildlife, creatures, or whatever else that clones would need to face. However, even if that were the case and that was the only reason why ion weapons couldn't always be used, then they could have just carried maybe a sidearm which fired traditional blaster bolts. However, there are also practical day-to-day reasons why you might not want to have an ion weapon as your main weapon. As the Essential Guide to Warfare puts quite succinctly, and I quote, "Such weapons have been mostly used against vehicles and warships, though their usefulness is limited in ground combat because ion particles scatter, often causing collateral damage to friendly forces." So, in other words, it seems like ion weaponry is not quite as focused, perhaps literally, as other blaster or laser weapons. And I mean, even space-based ion weapons are often referred to as being much less accurate than turbo lasers, basically being used to pound down a shield before the turbo lasers pick off specific parts of a ship. I wonder if this is somewhat related to how stun weaponry works, and we see that stun bolts are much less accurate than regular blaster bolts. They have a much wider radius and they move slower than other projectiles, as we see not only in episode 4, but when Ahsoka is on the run in the Clone Wars. And unsurprisingly, we actually see in the Clone Wars on several occasions that clones can vary the output of their weapon and actually fire these stun beams. I wonder if this is somewhat similar to how an ion weapon would work. Instead, the Republic used things like droid poppers, or on a larger scale, weapons like the electro-proton bomb. These would have ion and EMP capabilities, but were used in fairly unique situations. For example, if there was an extremely powerful enemy on the field, something like a spider droid, or if many enemies were clumped together without friendly troops intermingled. Otherwise, in most other situations, I think the weapons used by clone troopers would be just as effective as had they used even the perfect version of ion weapons. Both the DC-15A and S could traditionally destroy or at the very least incapacitate a battle droid with a single shot. So if you're hitting an enemy, you'll probably achieve your objective anyway, with the added versatility of being able to punch through armor, kill organics, etc. And I imagine more expensive battle droid units, like say the B2, probably would have had some resistance to handheld ion weapons, so the best course of action was probably just straight destruction anyway. We also learn, when Captain Rex is teaching the Onderon Resistance how to fight battle droids, that it's key that their head is destroyed so that they can't pass intel on to command. Perhaps with ion weapons, there's too much of a risk that the droid remains functional, or at least has the potential to become functional again, making it not only a potential enemy in the future, but also another node that can pass on information to the central command of the CIS. So perhaps it's better to be thorough, and that combined with the stopping power, versatility, functionality, and included stun abilities of the clone's main weapons, leaves, in my opinion, little room for ion weapons being the main tool in the clone troopers' arsenal. They already have things, as I said, like droid poppers, which I think serve their purposes, and in my opinion, if I were redesigning the clone army, what I would include, rather than standard handheld ion weapons, would be something like a shoulder-mounted ion cannon, something that could take out large tanks, or droids from a distance, maybe a droid popper launcher, maybe something that shoots an ion beam, basically using the ion cannon's best features without having to have it attached to a vehicle or starfighter. That, however, is just my opinion, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think down below. However, before we leave, we do have a hashtag AskGek question of the day. Today's question comes from Martin, who asks, which Legends character do you think should be brought into canon? That's a good one, and there are a lot who I would really love to be brought into canon, like Corran Horn, or Jason Solo, or Ben Skywalker for example, but it would be really hard to fit them into the current canon. So I'm going to go with a character who I think could seamlessly be integrated into the new EU, and that's Talon Karrde. Karrde was basically a smuggler who took over much of the galaxy's smuggling after the death of Jabba the Hutt. He became extremely powerful and was caught up in the war between the New Republic and the Empire. Although Karrde really wanted to remain neutral, ultimately for business and also personal reasons, at the heart of it he is a good guy, he decides to side with the New Republic and throws all in, creating an alliance of smugglers which went against the Empire. However, unlike a Han Solo, who he's somewhat similar to, and Leia even says as much in the books, he never fully joins the New Republic and always sort of remains in the fringe, which I think is quite interesting. So I'd love to see Talon Karrde brought into the new EU. They could bring him in after episode 9 if they wanted, perhaps between 6 and 7, I'm not sure, but yeah, that's my opinion. Again, curious to hear what you guys think down in the comments. That's all I have for now. If you guys would like to see more, make sure to subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and if you enjoyed this video, drop a like. Until next time though guys, this has been Eckhart's Ladder. As always, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.